Let's get to the inflation numbers. Let's get to what the economic situation is. You got Biden running around gaslighting everybody and his minions out there who look like basically the Ringling Brother Barnum and Bailey like circus clown show, telling you how your life is wonderful. You only think prices are up, but they're not. You only think gas is up, but it's not. The economy is better than ever. We're doing inside out, upside down, right side in. It's kind of the Glad Man campaign. And you just don't understand how good it is. People are making more money than ever, and everything is phenomenal. Even though savings rates are at an all-time low, credit card debt is at an all-time high, over $1 trillion. People can't make ends meet. They can't buy certain things at the store. They're getting squeezed. Job numbers are going up, and there's no end to the inflation in sight. And we've got interest rates that continuing to rise. How is Biden and his idiots, his useful idiots, spinning this thing as a positive economy?
Well, it seems as if the Biden administration, his staffers, don't have any real connection to typical families. The data are all very clear. And if you add up all the percentages of what we've seen with inflation over the past 2 years, the numbers are startling. If you break it down per family, the typical two-income middle-class family has seen a $5,000 annual decline in their real income. And that $5,000, that's not even factoring in a few other things you mentioned, such as consumer debt. We've seen the typical family add on $3,000 of credit card debt the past 2 years. That's an average of $12,000 per family of four. Just the increased interest costs on the revolving debt component of a family's income adds another $1,000 per year to living costs. That's not even part of all these inflation numbers. And then second of all, on the housing front, the inflation numbers, as bad as they are, that $5,000 real pay cut for families, that doesn't even factor into account the families that are looking to buy a typical standard middle-class home. The typical mortgage payments on a home have gone from $975 per year 2.5 years ago to more than $2,000 a year today. That's another $12,000 increase in annual living costs for typical American families. So get that. If you're a typical family of two incomes, you're buying a home and you've got typical credit card debt, you've seen your real income decline by almost $20,000 per year over the past 2.5 year stretch under Bidenomics.
And that $20,000, Joe Griffith, that's cash money, right? Because if you're got two people working, that's after taxes. So you take the 30, 35%, whatever it is, the tax bite out. Basically, in order to make that up, you've got to make 30,000 to get your 20,000 or higher. So this is real. This is real cash money. So now people are having to make tough decisions about they can't go on vacation, they can't go out to eat. They have to shop differently, buy different things. They can't get some of the goods and services that they would have preferred in the past. So, people are really feeling this. And you touched on this, Joe, but get to the whole home ownership thing. I mean, young couples now, or just young people, want to buy a home. I mean, interest rates are so high. How is this affecting millennials and some Zoomers coming up that want home ownership, and it's now unattainable?
Yeah, very, very important. So if you're that typical family looking to buy your first home, you've already seen that $5,000 annual real pay cut. When you go to buy a mortgage and you realize it's another $12,000 per year relative to where it was 2 years ago, it's simply pricing a lot of these families completely out of the marketplace. Our Federal Reserve has a tracker on home affordability that looks at what portion of a typical income is expended if you're taking on a mortgage for a new median priced home. Well, right now, it costs nearly 45% of a standard income just to buy that new home. We've never been less affordable. Typically you want to see a situation in which a normal home will cost you around 25% of your monthly pay. When you're at a level that's nearly twice that rate, it means that you either have families that are just strapping themselves financially to take on that mortgage, or they simply can't get into the housing place to start. And that's a big part of the reason why you see more people renting and more people delaying even entering the marketplace. Mortgage application index numbers, that just tracks the number of people applying for mortgages, those have plunged. We have not seen levels this low in years. It does not bode well for the housing marketplace. And one other thing on that, our government policies and our Fed policies have largely been responsible for that rise in housing costs. We've seen now the second bubble in the past 20 years, and this has just slammed middle class families.